Bonjour, you're watching Women's Wrestling Weekly, the number one women's wrestling show on the planet. My name is TK Trinidad, aka the Canadian Assassin, and with me, she is joining official co-host. She hails from the Valley. She is the farmer's daughter. Please welcome Emily May.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm so good.
You're like so happy.
I am happy to be here. We're going to talk women's wrestling. We have an amazing guest today.
And official co-host. There we go. Yes, beautiful things are happening, including beautiful people. We are going to do, like we do all the time, amazing interviews with amazing guests. This guest is no exception. She's currently signed to ROH. She's 1/3 of the heel stable Allure and 7-time champion. And the most amazing thing about her, I find personally, she is a fellow Canadian. Please welcome Angelina Love. How are you doing?
What's up?
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for coming on the show. So a little backstory, like if you guys have been watching the show often enough, you know that I'm quite persistent with certain individuals.
Yes.
And I have been sending emails to Angelina for, gosh, almost like a year. Not every day, nothing stalkerish, but just checking in. And it finally happened. So I'm so grateful and so thankful.
Yeah, we had, I actually looked back at our beginning string of emails, and I actually think it was like September 2018 the first time you contacted me, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's been that long.
Yes, you said
we had like a large chunk of time where life got in between everything, but we made it happen.
Yeah, and I totally get it. It's no,
yeah, it happens.
No harm, no foul.
Yeah.
It is what
We're
it is.
We're happy to have you here today.
Yes, and you're Canadian. That's even better.
I know, you guys are like bonded forever.
I know. So let's get into it. I do a White Room thing for AfterBuzz TV called the Social Media Shoot. And one of the stories about 2 weeks ago was you talking about how a fan was talking about your weight. And you essentially, hit them right back on Twitter. Do you have anything else to say about that? Or has, your fans come into support for you? Or what's transpired since that event?
I've been hearing stuff about my weight since like 2010. So it's not like this was like some shocking thing that I haven't heard before, but, I just felt the need to call the guys out, A, because it was coming from men, and B, Ring of Honor and Women of Honor has always been known for the wrestling. It's not supposed to matter how you look or what you wear or what your body looks like. It's supposed to be your ability to wrestle. So the fact that we were getting so much hate because, we were coming in being as we are. It's like, okay, well, I'm also proving myself, not that I need to, I've been wrestling for 19 years, but, proving myself to a new crowd of fans that, I can wrestle, won the women's championship, and then they're still caught up on how I look. And right. I'm like, doesn't that make you hypocrites? Just wondering.
It's a little
So I felt the need to say it because it literally happened at our September 27th, 28th shows in Vegas, and then it happened October 12th in New Orleans. So I was like 2 shows in a row. I got dudes screaming at me from the crowd about how much I weigh, and I'm like, oh, I thought that wasn't supposed to matter. Like, you guys don't care about how I look. It's supposed to be how I wrestle. But then, the same people that are preaching it's all about wrestling are the ones that are freaking out about how we look too. So I was just like, I'm just gonna call you out.
Yeah, those double standards are definitely real. But you did make note of it. You've been wrestling almost 20 years.
20 years, wow.
So obviously if you couldn't wrestle, you wouldn't be wrestling right now. Right. But what has changed since you started to this point in women's wrestling?
Well, I mean, when I started on the Ontario Indies back in 2000, I was just a manager, and honestly, like the only girls, not the only girls, but the majority of the girls that were like on the Indies at that time or in the locker room were just like guys' girlfriends or strippers used for said random spot on the show. So there wasn't like a lot of girls at the time who were actually like working indies or coming in, like trying to actually establish or accomplish something in the business. So, I mean, obviously, from the start of the Knockouts division in 2007 and this women's, revolution and all that kind of stuff, like women's wrestling has just shot through the roof, like in the 2 decades, which is so crazy to say, but yeah.
So what has been the evolution for you starting in 2000, going from being a manager to being in the ring, and how have you balanced that with what other people are saying, and the brand and the vision that you have for yourself?
Well, honestly, I started when I was 18, and I don't even know that I actually even planned on wrestling. Like, I was a manager for like a year and a half when I first started, and I just remember, like, and I mean, I've always been athletic. I was a figure skater, being from Canada. Played softball for 12 years, played volleyball, did track and field. So I've always been athletic. Like, my sister and I always played sports with my dad. Um, and we grew up watching the Leafs and the Blue Jays and all that kind of stuff. So we're always watching sports. TK, yes.
I know, for real.
I want to see your t-shirt.
Yeah, I just got bored of it, honestly. I was doing shows, and I just got bored of standing on the outside of the ring and doing the same 2 to 3 spots every show I worked. And I just got a little bit older, and I just wanted to be more involved. My mom was not thrilled. She was like, I thought you just wanted to like safely stand on the outside of the ring. And I was like, I'm bored. I want to do more. Not knowing, what it would become for me. But yeah, I just didn't want to stick with what I was doing. I just needed more of a challenge, and it just looked like something that I wanted to do.
So you've been with some amazing, I mean, as far as promotions, WWE, Impact, now with ROH. There was some news with ROH recently that happened, as far as one being, Sinclair is part of Sinclair Broadcasting a couple of years ago. Now it's going to be on air as far as Sinclair Broadcasting. But Joey Mercury posted something about how ROH is not treating their wrestlers, in particular female wrestlers, properly. Can you speak to that at all as far as your experience with ROH?
I'm having a blast in ROH. I know apparently like things went down. I was on a very relaxing and very fun vacation with my son in Florida when all that stuff went down. So I am actually not privy to how it started, who did what, the background. I was like, I'm just lying on the beach with my son. I'm enjoying life. I cannot deal with drama right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I don't even, even when there is like stuff that happens and stuff that goes on, I don't even want to know. Like, everybody's got drama in their personal life. Like, going to work is almost like, an escape from like, everyday life, real life kind of stress and drama. So like I said, I was just having a great time with my son. I don't know the details. I don't know the background. I don't know who started what or why, who said blah, 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 blah. But I mean, like, Mandy and Velvet and I, we're doing our thing. We're having fun, and I'm making money to provide for my son. So I'm happy.
And doing what you love too.
Yeah. That's important.
Yeah. So pretty much you're just saying, because what the accusations was that female wrestlers weren't getting paid enough compared to their male counterparts. And also on, for instance, Kelly Klein, she suffered from a concussion, and they still forced her to, wrestle in South Africa. So as far as the medical side of things, they're also not treating the wrestlers properly. So that's kind of the whole gist of it.
I understand. Yeah, I mean, I've seen Twitter. I can't say yay or nay to any of that, though, but I do not believe that all girls are getting paid the same. So to say that some are underpaid and some are not underpaid, to my knowledge, not everybody's paid the same. So, but the concussion, I have no idea. Like I said, I wasn't on the tour, so I'm just like, I don't really know what's going on.
Let me continue my vacation in Florida.
Yeah.
yes. I was like, ooh, I don't know. But you know what? We had a great weekend of shows, despite the most recent things that had happened. We did shows this past weekend, and like we had a blast, especially at the ROH Unauthorized show on Sunday in Columbus. It was the Colt Cabana books the show kind of thing, and I pimped it out on my Twitter like, this is probably the best show Ring of Honor that in my 7 months of being there so far, I think it is. We just had a blast. It was just like random thrown together matches and stuff and things happening. The crowd was great. The boys backstage, everybody was like laughing and clapping for each other, huddled around the monitors, supporting each other. Like, it was like such a fun show.
That's incredible. It sounds really fun. So you said 7 months you've been with ROH.
I think so. We started at MSG, the WrestleMania weekend.
Yeah, so April, yeah.
6, 7 months, I think.
Yeah, which that was an incredible show. I was there. Amazing.
It was. Oh my God, and I got my MSG moment, which is like, for a wrestler.
Well, I mean, that's an iconic venue. Everyone dreams of being there. So as we're looking to 2020 and, you're establishing your storylines in ROH, what are you looking forward to in the next year?
Winning obviously winning the Women of Honor Championship back, being a 2-time Women of Honor champion, 8-time world champion, and just, bringing the allure to, heighten new levels like we can always do. Especially me and Velvet in a group, we've been doing that for over a decade.
Right. Well,
so it's cool to bring something new to Ring of Honor that they didn't have before.
So that's my question. There is a lot of similarities between Allure and Beautiful People, obviously. But is there anything is there a preference if you could take promotions out of it and you're like, this is what I'm gonna do? Would you prefer the Beautiful People faction or the Allure faction?
Well, it's hard to say because it's a different time. We were doing the Beautiful People in 2008. It's 2019 now. So when we were doing the Beautiful People at the time, it blew up, and it was exactly what the wrestling world needed at the time. And Velvet and I were the exact 2 girls that needed to be doing it, and that's why it works so well. But now, 11 years later, we're still in demand for what we did. And now we have Mandy with us, and now we're bringing it, I mean, obviously there's going to be some similarities because 2 of the 3 girls in the group are the Beautiful People.
Right.
So, I mean, we're going to have similarities, but it's a different promotion. It's a different locker room. We have a different partner with us. Our attitudes are different. The Beautiful People was more like the Paris Hilton, Nicole Richie, Simple Life meets the Mean Girls, very princess bitchy. The Allure is more like ass-kicking women kind of thing, you know what I mean? So there's the difference in the appeal of it and the way that we act and stuff like that.
It's kind of like if the Beautiful People grew up. Yeah.
It just needed some time.
Yeah. Experiences.
Yes.
So now you've had, I mean, obviously 19 years, you've had matches with all types of wrestlers. Is there one match in particular that you're like, oh my gosh, this was an amazing, you always, when you think of your career, you kind of go back to that particular match?
So I'm really bad at finding the one things or the favorites. Obviously, winning the Knockouts Championship for the first time, that was the first major championship that I won, albeit completely unconscious on my feet. Don't remember winning it, but I've watched it. So obviously that was amazing. And then when I had the last Knockout standing match with Gail, that was a type of match that I've never been involved in before. I normally wouldn't put myself in the position to be in that kind of match, but it brought me out of my comfort zone and kind of took me out of the box, which as a performer, I always like to be challenged. So that was definitely, I really loved that match for as painful as it was.
Do you have any dream matches that you're looking, that if you could have your dream match with anyone, what would it be?
I mean, Trish, hello.
Oh my
gosh. Trish Stratus, I think would be.
That's what I was thinking. I think there should be I
already got to have a match with Victoria. I remember when I got released from WWE Developmental, I did an interview and they asked who I always had wanted to wrestle. Had I been able to stay in WWE at the time? That was 2007. And I think I said Trish and Victoria. But I mean, I got to wrestle Victoria a million times in TNA. So we never had the Toronto versus Toronto match.
Yeah, I would love to see that. Almost like a Canadian thing, like Natalia.
A Canadian
Gail.
takeover.
Yes, but it's all the
awesome.
badass women wrestlers just duke it out. That would be absolutely amazing.
And then TK comes out.
No. I'll be at the desk announcing how this is such an amazing match.
You and Renee. There you go. We got all the Canadians.
Yes, and Renee.
Exactly, Renee.
That would be. See,
can I be an honorary Canadian?
I mean, we're just great. I was telling Emily before we started the show, it's we have a lot of wrestlers and a lot of hockey players. It's just since doing this show, I've realized there's a lot of Canadian wrestlers. Yeah.
There's a lot. Yeah.
Crazy amount. Now, as far as storylines are concerned, is there anything in particular that you want to do for 2020?
Well, I got Maria Manic coming up in December, which will definitely be interesting. It's going back to the times when I was working Kong in TNA. But yeah, I just want to, it's kind of hard for women, especially when, in the entertainment business, your 30s are considered getting up there, which is crazy. But I've been, come August 2020, I'll have been in the business for 20 years and I'm still in demand and I'm still kicking butt.
And you look amazing.
Thank you. Maintenance. But I just want to be able to show like the younger generation too, like you can, you know, still be successful, you know, going through lots of ups and downs and the ebb and flow of you know, life in general, but like the wrestling world, and still have a successful career, and be making a living, and, you know, saving for your kids and everything 20 years, you know, into the business. I don't want anybody to think like, well, I'm a woman, I only have like a 5-year lifespan in this business. It's like, no, you don't.
Yeah. I mean, I there's so many opportunities now for women inside the ring, outside of the ring, and I think it's so important to show that. What do you have advice for women that want to get involved in the wrestling industry, either in the ring or outside or behind the scenes?
Just don't waste your time or anybody else's time. If this is something that you've always wanted to do, or even if it's a new interest, like, you have to be serious about it, because, you know, for people to invest their time and their efforts into you, for you to just turn around and not make anything of it or not take it seriously, you know, just know who came before you, train hard, look good. Like, I'm still all about, like, women in wrestling need to, like, look like women. Like, we shouldn't be looking the same. This is just my personal opinion. We shouldn't be looking the same performing on a show as we look when we go grocery shopping at 8 p.m. at night. You know what I mean? Like, this to me is always a show. It's glitz, it's glamour, it's a different character, it's makeup, it's hair. My son is going like, mom, 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 mom. That's all I can hear right now. You know, and just how you have to have a thick skin, just, you know, with the things that we've already been talking about that I've been through. Oh my God, you're going to be too fat, you're going to be too thin, you're going to suck, you're going to be too good, you're going to be too ugly, you're going to be too pretty, you're going to look like a man, you're going to not be good. Like, you're not, especially like this wrestling fans kind of day and age, like, it's like nobody's ever good enough. It doesn't matter what you do, and then it also, everything you do matters. So it's kind of like, oh my God, it's so easy to, like, drive you crazy and be confused and not know left from right or up from down, but you just got to keep doing your thing and work hard and believe in yourself and promote yourself, and thick skin. Oh my God, I always say that, thick skin.
And is there is there a point in your career where you discovered that, where, you know, because as a female, we still today, especially with social media, you know, you're just inundated with all these images, how we should look, all this other stuff. Is there a point in your career where you're just like, you know, screw you guys, I'm going to live my life and do it, you know, according to what I think should happen for my career?
Yeah, it was, I feel like it was probably harder for me, like, in my 20s. Like, I feel like when you're a woman in your 30s, you just, like, know yourself better and you know how to handle those kind of things better. But when you're super young and you're new in the business and you're vulnerable and you have these attacks coming at you, like, you don't know what to think of it. But now, and I'm just, like, the kind of person where I'm just like, bah. Like, there is so many, like, other bigger things going on out there and in life or whatever. Like, I just don't care what anybody thinks about me. But I haven't always been that way, but that's how I am now. And that's definitely the best way to be, I think.
Nice. And now with the amazing news that ROH is going to be on Sinclair Broadcasting, you can see it on TV, along with all the other promotions that are up. You know, you have AEW, you have WWE, you have Impact. All is like, this is like almost a year of wrestling. And then you also have Master P's having, I forgot which one he's having. He's also having a promotion coming out. Yeah. So it's like the year of wrestling. When you got the news that ROH is going to be on all the Sinclair Broadcasting stations, what was your feeling about that?
I think that's wonderful. It should be. The roster's amazing. Like, more people need to see Ring of Honor wrestling. Like, the shows are just phenomenal. They really are. So I'm just happy to see it get promoted more and get the guys that deserve the exposure to be able to have that now.
Now, as far as women's wrestling is concerned, almost taking a step back, and you as, you know, an expert in the game, is there anything overall across the board women's wrestling should be doing or hasn't accomplished yet? Anything that you see like, oh, we're almost there, but we're not quite there yet?
We just got to keep pushing forward. You know, this has always been like a male dominated business. I don't know that there's always more to be done. I don't know. I wouldn't know what to say specifically needs to be done, but, you know, it's just like constant evolution. So we just need to keep evolving and, keep the legitimacy of the business too. Cause like a long time ago, like women's matches were like potty breaks,
Mm-hmm.
and we don't ever want to be that again. So
I would love to know, as like you look back on your career, and I know you have many more years to go, but what would you want your legacy to be, and as you look back?
just being the best, or being one of the best, because I'm not going to cut down anybody else who thinks that they're the best and has accomplished a lot too. I'm so thankful for what Velvet and I were able to do with the Beautiful People, because that was like historical,
Mm-hmm.
and nobody can take that away from us, and we're so proud of that. And I just want to be remembered as one of the best. Like I have a very judgeable look. I've always known that, and I think it's great, because I love to be able to get in the ring and be like, yes, I look this way, and I know you probably think I suck just because of how I look, but let me blow you away when I get in the ring, and I've always been all about that.
So we are going to get into rapid hot tags real quick.
Women's Wrestling Rapid Hot Tags.
That was a different.
It's a new recording.
Okay.
I love it.
All right.
It's a new recording.
So here we're gonna go. Always early or always late?
Try to be early.
Okay, we'll take that. What is the one thing you love about yourself?
My heart.
Dream dinner guest.
Oh my God, I have no idea. This is not very rapid. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Who would play you in a movie?
Anna Faris.
I like that.
Oh.
Last show you binge watched.
What was I binge watching? Oh my God, what was I just binge watching? Oh, I watched. Oh my God, I'm just gonna say The Office. That's the last one I remember.
Okay, I like that. If you were a crayon, what color would you be?
Pink.
If you had last meal, and life is over, what meal would it be?
Oh. My mom's apple crisp. Probably some like good roasted chicken, mashed potatoes and gravy, maybe some poutine.
Just all of it.
I don't think I've ever had anybody list different, but why
meals.
not?
But
And
if it's your last meal, like you got to maybe one
all the favorite stuff.
Yeah.
If you can listen to one album for the rest of your life, what would it be?
New Kids on the Block.
Okay.
Yeah.
While eating poutine.
While eating poutine.
Like 1990 all over again.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Now, the one question, it seems like being in the business for 19 years, you're still going, you're still at it. Is there a moment where, it's like, okay, this is when I'm going to hang out my boots, or I'm just going to keep going until my body says stop, or what's your thought process with that?
I've had leaving the business tried to be forced upon me before, and like you just can't do that to anybody, especially someone who loves it and who's been doing it for half their life. You just have to be ready. And I will stop physically performing at some time, and my body will let me know when that time is, but I would like to move into like a backstage role too, like a producer or an agent or a trainer or something like that, because I feel like I have a lot to offer that way too.
So it just seems like stopping anytime soon, which is amazing, because it's amazing to see that you can do a career for the longevity of it, and do what you love and do what you're passionate about.
And like the important part is that you just want to be a part of the business in whatever way and whatever capacity. And
I also like to help. Like I used to help train the girls at Jay Lethal's wrestling school. Down in Florida, probably like 4 or 5 years ago. And I just feel like with how long I've been in the business and all the years that I've been doing TV, and, just seeing how everything goes creatively and production wise and stuff like that, I still want to be able to, I've been giving back to the business a lot with my performing, but I feel like backstage roles and helping groom and guide and help the newer generation come along, I feel like I have a lot to give in that aspect.
Yeah, I mean,
Totally.
I believe Gail is doing that for Impact too. It's like the things that you can't see if you have the experience, somebody who's coming up won't be able to see that. So it's also helpful to, okay, this is what you should do or all this stuff. So I definitely can see that.
Even when I don't or can't physically perform anymore, I still want to be involved in the business. I love it. It's fun.
Yeah.
Now, what about your son? Has he showed any signs of wanting to be in the business?
He'll probably come. David, come here, babe. Come here, baby. No. Well, actually, that's not true. Hey, you want to come say hi?
Oh.
Oh my God, he's so cute.
I want to buy teaspoon.
Can you say hi?
Hi.
So is he jumping off of couches or anything like that, or?
What's that? Yeah, he does. He's like all over the place all the time.
I'm sure.
Okay, baby, play this for a second, okay? No one play team sports?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one of his grandmas lives like a few minutes away from the Seattle airport. So we did shows. We did a show in Kent, Washington, which is like 20 minutes from Seattle, in June. So we kind of made like a few-day trip out of it where he got to see his grandma, and then we did our Ring of Honor shows up there. And he came to the Kent show like probably a half an hour before all the talent arrived, and I just let him like run around the ring, and like I could not get him out, and it wasn't like he was just doing like front rolls and running in circles because he could, there's a little bounce.
There's a
so
bounce,
he thought
right.
it was so cool because he loves trampolines and gymnastics and stuff like that. So but then when we had to actually get him out of the ring because like talent was getting there, and they had to switch they got like a dirty canvas they put on there so we don't dirty up the show canvas. So they were having to like switch canvases out, and when I took him out of the ring, like he was so upset. Like he was so upset that he could not stay in the ring. But I mean, I'm not going to guide him towards being in the business.
Right.
But if that's the way that he chooses to go, like I'm always going to support him to do whatever he wants to do, but I'm not going to be like, baby, you need to be a wrestler. Like if he doesn't want to be a wrestler, I'll totally be fine with that.
Right. And does he watch you? Is he at of the age where he he watches your stuff?
No, I would prefer, well, I mean, like he'll see like an entrance and he'll, hey baby, do you want to watch it on here so I can finish this? Okay. I told you it was like Stewie. He'll see pictures of me, or he'll see us like doing our entrance or something, and he'll be like, Mom, it's you. But I wouldn't actually want him to watch me physically wrestle yet, because we're still like soul bonded. You know what I mean? Like we are like best friends and like the same person with the same heartbeat still. And I think he would actually get really upset.
Gotcha.
At this age, because he's only 3.5, I think he'd get really upset if he saw me wrestling somebody like Maria Manic, for instance. He wouldn't get that yet. So I think I'd want to wait until, like, I'm cool to have him backstage at shows because like everybody's so cool and fun, and it's always cool to have the kids backstage. But as far as actually watching me wrestle, I don't think until he's, a few years older and can understand more about it. So I wouldn't have him really watch it now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like
Probably
it.
hard to
Yeah.
understand for him, but I can see in like 15 years.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I truly appreciate
I'm
it.
so glad we finally worked it out.
Yeah, no worries. Like I said, there's always a special place in my heart for my fellow Canadians.
Yes. Always room for more.
Always room for more.
And the little half Canadian here, he's dual.
Well,
Aw.
hey, we accept them all.
Okay, we'll call Grandma when we get off.
Thank you so much. We definitely
Thank
look
you.
forward to, just more of the allure and, your career and, just doing amazing things.
He wants candy for dinner because he just did trick-or-treating. So.
Oh,
Thank you so much. Always appreciate the support. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh my gosh.
Oh my
She's
goodness.
absolutely amazing. I mean, all Canadians are. What can I say?
That's true. I have one right here.
I know. Well, thank you.
welcome.
We're going to hit the star of the week real quick.
All right.
Pro Wrestling Star of the Week.
So, at a very young age of 24 years old, Tessa Blanchard is a rising star of Impact Wrestling and WOW, a multi-generational wrestler. Even at such a young age, she's the daughter of the Four Horsemen member, Tully Blanchard. She's garnered the respect of veterans and rookies alike across the wrestling industry. She's a former Impact Knockouts champion, the Crash Women's champion, and is currently the WOW champion. in all of our interviews in the last like few weeks and months and stuff, she's definitely been the person that people are all talking about, that they want to get in the ring with her. They want to see where she's going to go, how she's training. And so she's had such a dynamic career so far. She's worked really hard in the short span that she's been in the industry. And I know she's going to like reach for the stars and go above and beyond what we see now. And so I'm really excited, and that's why Tessa Blanchard is our star of the week.
Yeah, Tessa is amazing, and she's going to speak to a new generation of wrestlers in general, as far as, you know, starting at a young age and knowing, you know, this is what I want to do. Whereas we've spoken to wrestlers who've been in the game for a long period of time, and it was like one of those things, I think I might wrestle, but there was no wrestling schools, or there wasn't any wrestling schools that they knew of. But now, you know, this generation of wrestler is going to be absolutely amazing, and the longevity of their career and the creativity and the promotions. It's going to be House of Glory. I was remembering Master P's takeover of that promotion.
And she's already making an impact, no pun intended, on like backstage and how other women are like representing themselves in the wrestling ring, you know, with training other women. Again, as you said, the next generation. She's a coach. She's really changing the game, and she's only 24 years old. So I'm excited, and I'm like proud that she's in the industry.
Yeah, she's changing the landscape of wrestling. Like, she really reminds me of, this is a track reference, of Allison Felix. Allison Felix is an amazing track runner, and she chose not to get a scholarship. She paid for her school. She took endorsements, and she's still running. And, you know, just a little backstory, because I love track. She was pregnant, and Nike, you know, tried to drop her. And she came back. She had her baby, and she won. And, you know, Nike picked her back up. So, I mean, that's like, you know, Tessa just seems to be paving her own way in the wrestling world, and it doesn't necessarily have to be WWE. I definitely do see her at WWE eventually. Whenever she wants, it's going to be on her own terms. But, you know, she's definitely, if you want to be a wrestler and you put in the work, it's definitely possible. There's just so many opportunities for not only just females and males alike. So thank you so much. Where can people find you?
So you can find me on all social media channels at Emily Mae Heller. That's MAE.
And thank you so much, guys, for watching. Without you guys, we wouldn't be the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. You can definitely follow us on all social media, WPW Weekly. We're going to be rolling out some new things on our social media, other than, you know, the interviews and all that stuff. So definitely be on the lookout for that. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure to hit that subscribe button and follow AfterBuzz TV on all their social media platforms. And you can follow me at TK Trinidad on everything. Till next week, guys. Ciao.
From executive producer Kevin Undergaro, producer TK Trinidad, and me, Maria Menounos, we would like to thank you for tuning in to Women's Wrestling Weekly. To help TK, the crew, and women's wrestling in general, we ask that you subscribe, rate, and comment on Women's Wrestling Weekly at Apple Podcasts, and subscribe to our AfterBuzz TV wrestling channel on YouTube for this and other outstanding wrestling content. Buzz you later. AfterBuzz TV, starting place to the likes of WWE female superstars Kathy Kelly, Sonya Deville, and Zelina Vega, proudly presents Women's Wrestling Weekly, the world's first podcast and YouTube series dedicated exclusively to women's wrestling, featuring all the latest news as well as interviews with top superstars in the industry. And now, AfterBuzz TV's own gorgeous lady of wrestling, TK Trinidad.